Ah, Evil Lyn. The Lyn that is evil. The evil warrior that is a female, right? Because every faction needs a female. And no, I don't mean just like a token female, even though that kind of tends to be what she winds up often, especially when you look at the 80s, how every line there's like a single female figure from your April O'Neil to your Tila. And Evil Lyn was that for the bad guys. But she was quite beloved. You may notice that she started off with yellow skin, bright yellow skin. That was how the original toy was released in the 80s when the decision was made to take the Tila tool, or the Tila buck, the Tila sculpt, and essentially tool up a new head, and bingo bango, you now have an evil version of Tila, or at least a female, for the bad guy faction. And she's shown in all of the early media, all of the early books and mini comics with bright gold or bright yellow skin, showing that she's either has jaundice or she has magical powers, because, magical powers make your skin turn yellow. Actually, that is the in continuity reason, is that when she's powerful, when she's using a spell, the idea was her skin would turn yellow, and that is why she was yellow. So the first release in Classics was naturally going to be based on the vintage version, which had the yellow skin. And it's interesting, it's not bright yellow skin. It's supposed to be more of an orange yellow. I don't know why Origins went for like super bright, rainbow bright yellow, but that's like off. That's not the color she's supposed to be. It's supposed to be more like what Super 7 did, or the vintage figure, or Classics, where it's kind of an orangey yellow. So if she's orangey yellow when she's using her powers, what does she look like every day when she's not kind of powered up, if you will? And that's what you see on your left there, your everyday Evil Lyn, with more of a tannish, whitish, grayish skin. So where did this come from? Where did these two different colors of Evil Lyn? Why is she acceptable in both powered up and everyday gray skin mode? Well, obviously the yellow comes from the original action figure and all of her original artwork from 1983. She was in the second year of MOTU. She was not part of the original 8, but she was quickly added to the line. And her origin is interesting because it's changed a little bit over times. One of her first early appearances in the New Champions of Eternia book series, she is shown as one of Queen Marlena's sort of a co-astronauts, along with T.E. Scope and Biff Beastman. And when all of them show up on Eternia, they are transformed, for reasons, into Evil Lyn, Beastman, and Triclops. And we did make allusions to some of this in Classics, like having Triclops' real name be T.E. Scope. Or actually, I think we came up with words for the T.E. I can't think of what they are at the top of my head. They were long Greek-sounding words. But either way, it was a reference to this original story where his name was T.E. Scope, like Telescope, and her name was Evelyn Powers, like Evil Lyn. I think Robot Chicken even made a joke out of that. She shows up with yellow skin in a few of the mini-comics, but I do say few because of all the evil warriors, of all of the Skeletor faction characters, she actually makes some of the fewest appearances in the mini-comics. But when she does, she's got that yellow skin. So again, where is the source of this everyday gray skin when she's not using her powers, or where she's not in sort of powered up mode, if you will? And there's pretty much a simple answer to that. It's from Filmation. The Filmation series, when they included her, and it was very natural to want to include a female in the evil faction, because having a female character honestly adds storytelling possibilities. It adds drama. It's not just a bunch of guys hanging around, sitting around a campfire. When you have a female, both in the good faction and in the evil faction, it moves stories forward. It creates a natural drama, and that's why she was added to the toy line and to Filmation in order to create that sense of storytelling. As to why she didn't use her yellow skin, well, we all know yellow does not work in animation as a skin color at all. So giving her more of a light tan, whitish, grayish skin color was just, I guess, a way of making her work better in the animation. And that's where it comes from. That's where the color scheme comes from. While she was originally just a repaint of Tila in Filmation, they did change her outfit a little bit, at least from Tila's outfit. Tila had more of the dangler on her belt, and Evil Lyn's was a little bit different. But at least with this Filmation look, it justified 2 deco jobs for all the toys, which is interesting because even some of the modern toys, like Super 7 here with their reaction figures, I was a little surprised they didn't take advantage of the fact that there's sort of 2 in-canon, fan-accepted decos for Evil Lyn. You have her yellow from the original toy and the everyday skin. They did this with Teela, doing everything from Faker Teela to the Goddess to Classics colors to vintage toy colors to, I guess, anti-Eternia colors. It seemed like Evil Lyn would have been a no-brainer to get more use out of that tool, because anytime you can repaint an existing tool, it saves an enormous amount of production funds, because tooling is a one-time investment. And in the 2000X series, she continued to have the gray skin and purple outfit, as opposed to the yellow skin and blue outfit. So more justification, again, for doing an easy repaint once you have an Evil Lyn tool, which is really a Teela tool, because, we all wear the same outfit in Eternia. Then, again, it made sense to do a gray version. The 2000X toy obviously used gray as their skin color. They never released her with yellow skin, which again, much like that Super 7 figure, this would have been an easy repaint and kind of a kid-friendly repaint, especially when they did those things like Disco Skeletor later in the line, who had kind of the wacky colors. You could have easily done Evil Lyn with yellow skin, call it a wacky color, but at least kind of like what they did with Trapjaw when they gave him his mini-comic colors in 2000X. Evil Lyn could have gotten a 2000X redeco, but she was a great figure in 2000X. I love the knife, and she has that great stance with sort of one hip up and one down with the bent knee, and the outfit does it's not exactly it's not Teela restamped in another color. She had unique parts in 2000X, and this was even carried forward when they did the Snaction figure, where you got Screech and additional accessories for her. And this was definitely an issue that fans had when we brought her into the Classics line, that we continued to just reuse the Teela buck, or even the Teela dress, if you will, when we just redecoed Evil Lyn from her original release with the yellow skin, or the yellow-orange skin, and did her in the tan color. Other toy lines have, continued to do this, of course. The Club Grayskull line that Mattel did right after I left, although, I was there to kind of kick off the line, but I was not there for year 2 when Evil Lyn was released, using some Teela parts to complete the figure. And, same with their Mega Bloks figure. They're able to use existing tooling and just, much like the vintage line, put on a new head, and, wham bam, you now have Evil Lyn, an entirely different character altogether, much like they say in Airplane. So that brings us back to her Classics figure and her second release here. We wanted to make her special for the second release, and we did give her some new parts, but she, again, was just a redeco of the Teela outfit. We didn't sculpt up a new 2000X outfit, which a lot of fans were kind of upset about. The rationale for this was partially logistics, because she was not a monthly figure. She was slotted as a quarterly A-list character refresh, and those characters didn't have as big of a budget. But we still wanted to at least do something different for her if we weren't going to be able to tool up an entire 2000X figure. And one of those was to give her helmetless head, because she was now sort of cast as Keldor's love interest. Originally she was just a sort of evil sorceress, but 2000X had really shown that they were getting together romantically, even though she lost all interest in him once the acid met face and he became Skeletor. That was kind of also part of his turning to evil, because he lost her heart when he lost his face. So while we didn't have the tooling to do an entirely different outfit for her and could really just do a redeco, I still think Bill and the Horsemen really did an amazing job with the colors of making her work and look very different from the previous release. And as I noted, we included a second head, we included a cape with a brooch, and we included a longer staff. The original one just came with the hand staff. So, you were at least we wanted to give you as much as possible for your money buying a new figure, without forcing people to buy another Evil Lyn. For those who didn't want another Evil Lyn, they didn't have to get her. And again, she was a quarterly refresh, kind of like Keldor earlier in the year and other figures who were minimally tooled. He just got a new head on the Skeletor body and a new cape and a new acid vial. So kind of same thing. And we deliberately packed her out with her alternate head without the helmet, so again, she would look different in the package and not look like the same Evil Lyn that you'd already bought with the yellow skin. And she also didn't come with the eagle, too. She didn't come with Screech the way the original one did, but she got her cape and she got, extra parts. And that was essentially why we weren't able to do the full 2000X outfit, although I kind of think, the idea is you're classicizing the characters, and, if she'd been released in the vintage line in these colors, this is what she would have looked like. The idea was, we weren't doing the 2000X style with all the extra armor pieces and the extra rivets and spikes and, all those kind of details. That was very deliberate when you were turning a figure into classics. We could use the bio also to move her story forward, introducing actually Skeleton for the first time. This was the first time he was mentioned, not by name, but it was mentioned that there was a son. And that was the first time, the kind of hint that was coming. So that was what the bios were all about. And obviously the haircut, the maskless haircut, not only based on the 2000X series, when occasionally she would lose her helmet, but even going back to Filmation, and it was even rarer in Filmation, but there were occasions during the show when she would take off her helmet, is it a hairpiece, whatever it is, and same thing, she had these short gray hair underneath. So this is very much established, and it was great because it was a fantastic way to do an updated portrait sculpt. That's what the heads are called. The heads on toys are called portraits because they're a little more difficult to sculpt because you've got to actually get the face. You're not just sculpting an arm or a leg. There's actually people who professionally are just toy portrait sculptors. And that's what they specialize in, is doing faces and, getting them on model. So getting her into classics for the second go-around, I don't know, I was really proud of the way we were able to, by doing things like giving her a new staff, the cape that was new, the new heads, and the new deco, not just to her skin, but to her outfit as well, with all the pink highlights and the light purple and the dark purple. To me, she really stands out. Now, fans still wanted a 2000X version, and the way we were going to try to do that was by even more refresh parts, if you will, for her, such as the cloak she wears when she's teaming up with the Snake Men in later episodes. It could have just been an overlay piece, but this would have allowed us to perhaps do the full 2000X bodysuit, tunic, I guess whatever you want to call it, that she's wearing, and not just give her the Tila one again in new colors. So we put this as a fan choice candidate in a contest we had, and unfortunately she didn't win. I think Keldor won from the mini comics. But, we could have also done, yet another new head. We could have done like the young Evil Lyn head and her orb, things from when she met Keldor on the show. Again, her story was really fleshed out, being a love interest of Keldor / Skeletor. And again, once he lost his dashing good looks to the acid vial, she lost interest in him. And the whole romantic relationship between the two of them is really the crux of her storyline and why she starts releasing things from their evil prisons. That becomes her thing. She likes to release things. And you could collect her because now she was in classics in her everyday skin tone instead of powered up. So glad we got to do that. Great figure, and more to come.